Hey, this is Harry, and you are listening to the Litt Podcast, a show where we speak with New York City event hosts and their stories. This week, I'm speaking with Yiyi Zhang, an event coordinator at Wonderville. Welcome to the
Hi,
show.
thanks for having me.
Thanks for making time. So, could you maybe tell me to start off, what you do before this event series at Wonderville? Kind of, how did you end up in New York and things like that?
Yeah, sure. So I moved to New York in 2009, right after undergrad. And when I first came to New York, I had a couple friends, but it was really just like as anyone who first comes to New York, it's a lot of commotion, a lot of isolation amongst the noise, if that makes sense. And I found some friends through the couch surfing community and just, went to a bunch of events. And that's sort of how I got really involved in community building and the event space. It's just I loved making those connections with people.
What you say communities, so have you worked with other communities other than Wonderville?
Yeah, so before Wonderville, just a few years ago, I took a class with Playcrafting, which is a organization slash company that hosts both community events around indie game dev as well as classes where they teach people how to build games. So I've always been a gamer my whole life, so I decided like why not just make some games? And through that community, I met a whole bunch of really good friends, and then I started doing hosting my own events and meetups uh, just through having met so many people that like needed a place to get together and co-work and be inspired and stay motivated.
So that's resonating a lot with me. So I too run kind of my own meetups, and I've
Hmm.
grown them, and some of them have been very popular, like 2,000, 3,000 people.
Hmm.
And I just want to maybe expand on that aspect. So it sounds like you're really into the community building aspects of running an event. Mm, Can you
Yeah,
maybe
for
share more
sure.
thoughts on that?
I just really like as someone who was not a native New Yorker coming here, I know how awkward it is to just walk into a room and not know anyone and to like I liked being in the role of being able to facilitate new people meeting really awesome people and sharing interests with each other. So through the indie game dev community, a lot of people who first come to New York are here pursuing the dream of making it in games, doing game adjacent things like making music, making storyboards, writing, making art. So by building those communities, I was able to bring a bunch of very talented people together and like see the magic that they all made together.
Okay. And let's see. So, and so to talk about, I guess, your first event that you run here at Wonderville, what is it exactly? What's the name of the event at Wonderville? Because Wonderville is like an establishment. It's
Yeah.
maybe explain what is Wonderville. My understanding
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that
Let me back up and talk a little bit about what Wonderville is because like it's a little complicated. So Wonderville was created and built by two owners, Mark and Stephanie. They are husband and wife. At the time when they were building Wonderville, they were engaged and they ran this Kickstarter together to take over this arcades or this bar space in Bushwick called Secret Project Robot. They took over that space and decided to build it into this indie arcades space in conjunction with Death by Audio Arcade, which is a 501c3 nonprofit of which Mark at the time was president. Death by Audio Arcade is a nonprofit that builds DIY arcade cabinets. So Wonderville is the sort of for-profit bar that houses now all of these DIY arcade cabinets built by Death by Audio Arcade. So through that, like Wonderville was established through the Kickstarter as this indie arcade bar event space for just doing all sorts of like events that are sort of off the off the what's off the beaten
Not
path.
mainstream.
Yeah, mainstream. Yes. Yeah.
Not mainstream.
Yeah, so some of the events that Wonderville did pre-COVID were just like a lot of like chiptune music artists coming in, or we did like a live ensemble with a game playing in the background for the game Ape Out. We've done a just every Tuesday we had a tournament Tuesday where people would come in and play tournament rounds, brackets of games made in New York City. And the unique thing about it is that all of the arcade cabinets are built from like new indie games as opposed to like your barcade where it's all like retro games and Pac-Man and things like that. These are all like brand new games, most of them made right here in the city.
See, that I didn't know. Yeah, my understanding was that Wonderville is kind of like Barcade, but it I didn't know that it was all indie games and like newer games.
Yeah, yeah. I think I can't actually call it a barcade. So if I did, strike that because Barcade owns Barcade. They are an indie artcade.
Mm. No, I said Barcade. I don't
Ah,
think you
yeah.
said. I'm just trying to relate it to something that might be more familiar to
Yeah, yeah.
people in the audience if they've never been to Wonderville.
So
And so,
Wonderville is really all about like promoting experimental music, art, and games, and sort of uh, supporting and highlighting some of the talent that's come out of NYC game development and the artists.
have you ever? What it sort of brings to mind Crystal Castles. You ever heard that band?
Yeah, yeah. I think they played at Magfest or something.
Yeah, I feel like that would that would be like the perfect place for them to play. They don't play anymore. I think they had a
Ah,
falling out.
okay. That's
Real
sad.
shame. But I think Crystal Castles is also, if they aren't from New York or based out of New York back in the day, they were very popular. I mean, in Williamsburg,
Hmm.
um, I guess in the when I was in high school, it's like 2008.
Yeah, yeah.
So, all right, and so, but Wonderville is a physical location, and here right now we're going through quarantine through the
Hmm.
because of the coronavirus, and people are being asked to shelter in place, stay at home, don't do anything, don't move. And so, could you tell me maybe could you tell me more about how Wonderville has navigated these uncertain times? Like, are they experimenting and shifting to virtual events? What's happening there?
Yeah, so obviously the stay at home, shelter in place, all bars need to shut down thing was pretty devastating for Wonderville because before COVID, we were doing maybe 6 or even 7 events per week, and I was responsible for coordinating all of that. So ever since we had to shut down, a lot of events are just not possible. Like dance parties where you have to sort of be in a physical space with people are not possible. But we have pivoted in the sense that some of our events, because we work with so many game developers and engineers and really smart technologists, some of the events have actually done better when we've pivoted them online, just because all of a sudden no one is constrained by having to commute to a location. So one of the recurring events that we did at Wonderville was a game or a game playtest night called Playtest Night, and that was run by Andy Wallace, who is a graduate student professor at LIU Post teaching game design. And that used to be an event where everyone would show up once a week or once a month at Wonderville and just prototype and show off their games that were works in progress and get feedback from the community, because as an indie developer it's really hard to get anyone to like touch what you're doing, and that was important. So we moved all of that online to now Wonderville's new Discord, and it's the same schedule, like once a month, Wednesday nights, first Wednesday of the month, we all get together, people post their builds, we all get on a Discord video chat together with maybe 20 people, and people get a chance to present their games, share their builds, and get feedback. And
And
that's also
that's
streamed on Twitch.
that's the Wonderville virtual event.
Correct, that's one of the Wonderville virtual events that we successfully moved over to an online format.
And could you? So what? what kind of people usually attend them, and not what kind of people, but like what's the, like, is it fellow indie developers that are attending these events? Is it game enthusiasts? Is it people that are just looking for something to do, or kind of
It's
like
been
what's
a mix of all those people. It's primarily, yes, people who are making games themselves who, you want to give feedback in order to get feedback for yourself, so it's sort of like a give back mechanic. But there's also people who are like just interested in how does making music for games work, or how do I pivot my traditional studio art background into making digital art for games, things like that. So we have people like that interested as well. There's also like physical product fabricators who are interested in the arcade cabinet component, and they attend as well as just, I don't know, I have friends who just pop in because they're really bored on a Wednesday, stuck at
yeah,
home, nothing to do, and they want to check out some games and just socialize.
yeah. I think that would be one of the a really big attractive thing for this event.
Hmm.
If people, it sounds like people can just tune in and just chit chat
Hmm.
over audio. Well, is it a Twitch stream and a Discord server?
Yeah,
Like,
so we all gather on Discord in like a voice channel that is voice or video, and then that server, or that channel is then streamed on Twitch, on the Wonderville NYC Twitch stream.
mhm.
So
And so
we
on
can have a
Twitch, you
wider
can,
audience on Twitch.
on Twitch, you'll probably have like a larger distribution because
Correct.
like it's like
Yeah.
on the front page of Twitch and everybody's like looking for stuff to look at.
I wish we were on the front page of Twitch.
You got, I mean, it could probably happen. It
Yeah,
could
yeah,
happen.
we'll see.
But on Twitch, you can use Twitch to tune in and kind of like chat. But then if you're interested in voice chatting with the channel, they can go into the Discord instead.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it is that like often you play a game, but you're playing it in a vacuum. This way you get to actually engage with developers and the people involved in making it, and also make your feedback heard. And it's cool when someone implements your like, oh, I don't understand how like using shift here works. Why don't you switch it to a space bar instead? And if they implement it, you feel like you sort of had a hand in the development of a final product.
You get added to the credits.
Yeah, I don't think you would, but
It should.
yeah.
Um, and so let's see. You also mentioned that you're involved with a separate gaming organizations,
Hmm.
NYC Gaming, and there's a related meetup group. So you can maybe tell me, are they one? Are they two organizations? What's going on there?
They are two organizations, but all involving the same people, pretty much.
Same people.
NYC Game
Same people, different
Makers.
meetup.
Yeah, NYC Game Makers is a meetup group on meetup.com that I started after I got out of the playcrafting classes, and I was really having trouble staying motivated on my personal game projects because all of a sudden I didn't have the structure of a class to keep me on track. So I was like, let me set up a meetup group that meets once a month where everyone comes together and co-works on their projects and troubleshoot and get feedback and things like that. So at least I am accountable to those people who come, because if I'm asking people to come and show their progress, I better have something to show as
Yeah,
well. So it sort of evolved from there. It's been going for like 3 years now.
it's a
Um,
long time.
yeah, it's been going a while, and by the grace of many tech startups who have been kind enough to host me, I've been able to find like a highly desirable meetup event space in Manhattan for the most part, which is the hardest thing about running a meetup, is like free event space for people to gather after work.
Yeah, I've sort of come on to the same problems as well,
Yeah.
running my own meetups, and finding space is
Hmm.
like really hard in New York City. So I just remember I used to live in San Francisco, and they had a hackerspace called Noisebridge.
Hmm.
And it was really, really great because it was kind of like just like a community center ish.
Yeah.
And people could just go in and they're all into tech. So there's like legit hackers actually hanging
Hmm.
out there. But when I came back to New York, couldn't really find anything like that. There's New York City Resistor, but it's very small,
Yeah,
right? Noisebridge in San Francisco is kind of like an entire floor of a building.
that's
So
awesome.
yeah, if you've never been and you're in San Francisco, definitely check them out.
Hmm.
I love that place. And but yeah, so running events in New York, like getting event space is like a hustle. It's like a hustle.
Definitely.
You have to find like corporations that are willing to do it.
Yeah,
They have a security policy because they don't want people going into their offices and
exactly.
getting intellectual property. It's but
Yeah.
you've been able to get a lot of space.
Yeah, so I joke that you know how in Game of Thrones Daenerys is sometimes referred to as the beggar queen when she was still trying to build her army. That's how I
Yeah.
felt. I was like going around begging to my friends like, "Hey, I know you work at this tech company. Do you guys ever host events? Like, do you have free conference room space that we could just pop into for 3 hours on a Tuesday or something?" And
And you
luckily,
really want it in
people love
Manhattan
it.
too.
Yeah, because it has to be central enough for people from the Bronx to come and people
Yeah.
from Brooklyn as well. So I've been very lucky to have people willing to host.
I think a lot of people, I mean, so I run Kaggle New York City, and we've really caught a break with Microsoft. So
Oh yeah,
Microsoft
yeah.
has the
The
reactor.
store, right?
They have it's a store, but they have a reactor center, they call it. It's for
Oh, okay.
community events.
That's awesome.
And it's a prime location. It's right on 42nd Street.
Yeah.
Often we have people that are coming in from Jersey, some people
Hmm.
come down from Westchester, some people come down from Long Island. So even though like I live in Brooklyn and I wouldn't mind having my event somewhere in Brooklyn, it it is kind of like a deal breaker for a lot of other people.
For
A lot of other
sure.
people are coming in from further up or further out west. And so yeah, getting space, meetup
Hmm.
space in Manhattan is very difficult. And
Yeah.
if you have it, you're really lucky.
Yeah.
Um, but I think we got a little sidetracked.
Yeah, also I was gonna talk about so there's
NYC
the NYC
Gaming.
Game Makers is the meetup group that I started. NYC Gaming Discord is only a Discord. It lives on Discord and it involves a bunch of the same people like playcrafting alums, people out of NYU Game Center, other game development programs in New York, and it was started by Andrew Thomas, who is now he's a friend, but he's also a game developer in the community. And at some point, I joined it and I was plugging my meetup group hard, and then I was helping him plug the Discord pretty hard through my meetups. So we were like, why don't we just join forces and sort of at least bring the communities together so that I will host all the physical space events and the Discord will be for people to stay connected in between events.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful. So also through running meetups,
Mm-hmm.
there was a strong desire fairly early on that there's that like Gmail Gmail emails is not wasn't going to cut it. So we ended up making like a Slack
Mm,
for our community exactly for that, for staying in touch between the meetups,
yeah.
right? So my my meetup is something about data science and
Mm-hmm.
computers, and people often want to share interesting links or like programming issues that they're running into, and that's where something like a chat like Slack really shines.
Yeah, for sure. And Discord is the same thing. I think Discord probably lends itself more to the gaming community because people already were using it for playing online. And it's also a little easier to set up a public Discord for anyone to join than a public Slack. So that's why we ended up with Discord. Slack, I think you have to actually send out invites or do something with their API to make it public, right?
Yeah, you have to, this might be getting too in the weeds, but
Yeah.
you have to set up, you can either send out invites manually.
Hmm.
Some people do that. I'm actually thinking about doing that myself. Or you can set up like kind of like a bot or like a website where people can auto invite themselves.
Mm,
We actually had one, but it was being abused, so I had to
I'm
shut it down.
sure. Yeah.
And right now I'm gonna probably change the copy on the website to be, oh, email me directly and I'll invite you. And it's a
Yeah.
small enough community that's something I'm okay doing with doing that myself. And so this NYC Gaming Discord, they have their own events.
Yeah, so most of the events on NYC Gaming Discord are that take place on the Discord, the ones that didn't take place through my meetup group. And now because everything is shut down, it's kind of been a godsend for my meetup group that we already had an established Discord for everyone to connect while we weren't able to meet physically. So we're doing a little bit of planning around like expanding our online event offerings to include like social events. I was thinking about doing like a Werewolf Wednesday, or we currently do Feedback Fridays occasionally, where everyone, similar to what we did at Wonderville, everyone gets together on a voice or video channel to show their projects and ask for feedback or help.
Have you gotten any votes for virtual karaoke?
I don't. I'm not the
Not
one to
yet.
advocate for virtual karaoke. No one
What,
has
you
said
don't like?
anything, so I'm not going to encourage it.
You don't like karaoke?
I may be Asian, but I don't do karaoke.
It's so surprising.
Yeah.
I love karaoke, and I actually think that. So I was on another Discord call earlier this week, and they were doing Zoom karaoke, and it was really, really fun. It was really, really fun, and I hope we do it more often.
Yeah, we've done like Jackbox games and
Jackbox, yeah, that's the
other
other
similar
popular
type of
one.
games. Yeah. Werewolf was really fun. I think one of my friends is setting up Superhero or Super Fight, the card game, which
Mm-hmm.
is similar to Cards Against Humanity, but you're arguing over cards around superpowers as opposed to just funny matchups. Yeah.
All right, and let's see. Is there anything else we wanted to cover in this episode?
I think we wanted to talk. Did you want to talk about couch surfing and how that community has risen and fallen?
Yeah. So, what do you mean by that? And like, maybe explain couch surfing for people that never used
Yeah.
it.
So couch surfing was back in the earliest days when I was aware of it in 2009, like a nonprofit website for people to find a free couch to crash on when they were visiting a foreign country or a state or different place basically. And it's a place for people to list like, I have a couch open and I'm open to hosting you for X number of days. And it was a matchmaking platform for travelers to find a good host in the place they were traveling to. It was also a way for people who, even if they didn't need a place to rest their head, they could just visit couchsurfing to meet fellow travelers or meet other people attending events similar to the ones that they wanted to be a part of, and to meet people to just show them around socially.
Mm-hmm.
That
And then
was
what
back in
happened?
the day. And then at some point, Couchsurfing decided they wanted to monetize. So couchsurfing.org became couchsurfing.com. And all of a sudden, like, money got involved. People had to pay to be verified on the site, which meant that you were not loco, and could like couchsurfing could vouch for you to be a safe person to either stay with or uh, be visited by. And around then, I feel like is when the organizers, at least the ones I know in New York City, got a little crazy about who was in charge of couchsurfing in New York City. Like, who was in charge of planning the big couchsurfing events in New York City that would bring everyone together, because somehow money was involved and everyone, it was no longer about the community. It was about like who could profit because who did the most work and deserved to profit.
Yeah, I mean, I I think this is a recurring issue with running meetups. Is sometimes they get political. Like there's a power struggle over who owns the meetup, or who's like who can say what this meetup does and what we represent.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going back to Noisebridge, there was a lot of these. They would have these weekly kind of like meetings, but for making decisions about the
Mm-hmm.
thing, and it's so hard to make decisions. There are like lots of problems with like, well, there's a lot of homeless people in San
Yeah.
Francisco, and what do we do with do we let them in? Is this okay? We're not a shelter, we can't do that. And so there's disagreements over how to handle several issues.
So then
fundraising.
it's like, let's form a subcommittee to discuss the committee that will be forming this committee.
Yes, you get that. I also see through my personal meetups, I see
Hmm.
that it's very hard to get people to step up. So it's like I have to champion the meetup, and if I were to leave one day or stop doing the meetup one day, the meetup would just die. So that's like another issue that I nerd out about, is like, how do we make resilient meetups, resilient
Hmm.
organizations that, like, because quite frankly, people do change, right? So your
Yeah,
personal situation, maybe you get busier, maybe you, I don't know, you get in a relationship and suddenly you don't have, this is not at the top of your to do
yeah.
anymore. And I've seen so many meetups on meetup.com that just get orphaned.
Hmm.
And that's something else to, I try to think about, like, is there a solution? If there is, then what does that look like?
Yeah, it's tricky to think about continuity planning for a volunteer run
For
organization.
something that's
Yeah,
like not paying you, right?
right,
So this is
exactly.
not paying your rent,
Hmm.
and the rent in New York City is so expensive. So
Yeah. You just got to
you have
find
to
people
focus.
within your membership who like really love and care about the mission that you're trying to establish, and like sort of start slowly involving them and like, hey, will you send out the follow-up email this week, or what are your ideas for the next event and how do we make it better, and see if they're slowly able to step up in ways that maybe aren't mission critical
Yeah.
immediately, but like show that they care enough to maybe do it, you know.
Yeah, that's something that I've tried to do through my meetups, is find co-organizers.
Hmm.
And for the Kaggle stuff, it's we usually have someone speaking on some technical topic, and that's a really great space for people to kind of like go deep on some topic that they've been meaning to go into, and they have
Yeah.
like a hard deadline. It's like, okay, you have to give this talk Tuesday the 24th, and it's like a constraint, right? So some people really like it. They get an excuse to learn about something that they don't know too much about, and they also get a video, right? So we used to record the videos and put them on YouTube,
That's awesome.
and that was really good. So yeah, so you can get people to chip in on the content generation side,
Hmm.
and that's a starter, right? So maybe
Yeah.
they can start by talking, and then maybe then they can do more responsibilities in terms of organizing it.
Yeah.
um well, I think that's all that I wanted to cover. So basically, to recap, so Wonderville has these virtual events that people can attend.
Oh
How do
yeah, did
they?
you want to talk about how we pivoted to Minecraft concert venue?
I
Or is there
do
not
want to
enough
talk
time?
about that. I would do.
Yeah.
Yes, we can make time.
Okay, so real quick, Wonderville, because it was like a in-person IRL meet space event venue for a long time, we hosted a lot of bands and concerts and like chiptune artists and DJs. All of a sudden, COVID shut all that down, so we all decided to get together and rebuild Wonderville as a Minecraft virtual event venue plus amusement park that was an homage basically to all of the games that currently are housed at Wonderville but are not accessible. So on a monthly basis, hopefully we're going to be doing virtual concerts in Twitch
In Twitch and Minecraft.
and in Minecraft, of course, for people who are able to get into Minecraft.
So I'm actually curious about Minecraft.
Hmm.
I try to play, but I bought the wrong type of Minecraft. I think many parents do.
Bedrock.
No, the story mode or something like that.
I don't. There's either Java or Bedrock edition, but Java is the one that's highly
No,
moddable and
it's neither
customizable.
of those. I went into GameStop one day and I bought a $5 Minecraft
I don't even know
disc,
what that is.
and it's
A
like it's
disc,
not.
like a
Yes,
CD. Oh.
yes. I was feeling spendy, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna treat myself. I never buy video games. Let me buy a copy of Minecraft. And I feel like I fell for like what a lot of parents would fall for. They think that they're buying Minecraft, but they actually bought like the cheaper one that's not Minecraft.
Oh no, it's like you were trying to buy your kid a DS and you bought them like a PSP instead, and the kid's like,
Yeah,
"What, mom? No."
yeah. Like you thought it was the same thing, but it's not.
Yeah.
and I actually fell for that. So how do people join? How do people get on Minecraft, and then how would they get on this Minecraft virtual party you guys throw?
So they would have to have Minecraft Java Edition, which was the OG version of Minecraft before
Is that on
Microsoft bought
someone's
them.
laptop?
Yeah, it's on your laptop. I think it might be available mobile, but don't quote me on that. Desktop is the way we play it. And then for upcoming events, you would just buy a ticket from us from Wonderville. It's usually around like $5 to $10 to join the server and be a part of it. If you don't own Minecraft, or if you don't want to own Minecraft and just want to listen to music, then the music is also free streamed on Twitch.
Hmm. How would they how would they buy the ticket? Like, where do they go on
It's
the
all
internet?
over our social, but it's also on wonderville.nyc. Um, there's like there's an event listing. You click on the event listing, buy a ticket. We do our tickets through With Friends, which is a both a membership and a ticketing platform.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's pretty easy. Just the same as like buying a ticket off Eventbrite. Once you buy the ticket, you get a receipt telling you like this is the server address, this is how you connect.
All right. Because that reminds me a lot. I think Elsewhere also had
Yeah.
like a Minecraft. They basically for those that don't know, they Elsewhere is like this other venue in New York City, and they they went a little bit viral on social media because someone recreated the bar
Hmm.
in Minecraft, and I thought that was maybe related to Wonderville somehow, but it sounds like it's not.
We had the idea around the same time. They were like ahead of us by a week in execution, but yeah, it's basically the same idea, except ours is slightly different in that it's both an amusement park and a venue. So it's not just you're jumping up and down in one space. There's a whole bunch of interactive exhibits and rides that you can go on while you're listening to the music.
Do you think that's something that would people should maybe explore more? So I thought the like re-implementing Elsewhere in Minecraft was really interesting because I have an affinity to the location.
Hmm.
Have you all considered recreating Wonderville in Minecraft, or
Yeah, Wonderville
maybe it
is
starts
created in
off
Minecraft. Like the first place you go into when you enter our Wonderville Minecraft server called Wonderverse is Wonderville the bar that's
nice.
made like one for one for what Wonderville looks like. And then you go out the backyard, go up the stairs, and it's the rest of the amusement park. And you can see all our tributes to all the games.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
But definitely it's something that a lot of places should consider just as far as like retaining customers and engaging with people goes.
Yeah. All right. So people can register for Wonderville events on wonderville.nyc. If they wanted to register for the NYC Gaming meetup, where do they go for that?
Oh, it's nycgamingdiscord.com, and once you go in there, I'll just say hi. I'm one of the mods, so we
You're one
make
of the
sure that
greeters.
we make sure that we personally greet every person who enters, so that they feel like they're not just talking to a bot.
Okay, that makes sense. That goes back to the whole building community
Yeah.
mission. And where can folks reach out to you? Like where can they connect with you and maybe direct questions to you?
Discord's a good place, or on Twitter. I'm at ilanthusg, AILANTHUSG.
Okay, we'll add that in the show notes
Cool.
for the audience, and that's it for me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.